All right, thanks to have you back. It's time to go into the next discussion. Mike already, of course, promoted for you. Now, the Court of Appeal in Lagos Division Monday struck out the criminal charges filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission against a 7th judge of the Federal High Court. That's Justice Haidulazira Ngajiwa.
Now, the EFCC had arraigned the judge for allegedly receiving a total of $260,000 and 8.7 million naira gratification to enrich himself as a public official. Now, the appellate court, presided over by Justice Adejumo Obaseki, ruled that the EFCC lacks powers to investigate or prosecute serving judicial officers or officials, except where such officers have been dismissed by the National Judicial Council. Now,
reacting to the court ruling, the EFCC said it would appeal the case, stating that criminal trials should take precedence over administrative procedures. Well, the anti-graft agency added that it considers the ruling a dangerous precedent that has no basis in law.
But the National Judicial Council, the body saddled with disciplining erring judges, says the EFCC failed to follow due process in the matter. And the NJC says it did not receive any petition from the EFCC against Justice Ngajiwa in respect of any matter of misconduct or corruption, stating that only then will the commission be able to prosecute the judge.
The NJC, however, pledged its commitment to the anti-corruption war. Joining us in the studio is a lawyer, Olatunbosun Oshimfowora, to look at this developing story with us. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
All right, can we safely assume first off that you are in support of the judgment against the EFCC on this one?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Okay, so what
I would say is expected.
Or would you want me to take a different position?
Okay, but what does Section 158 of the Nigerian Constitution say? Because many are saying that it's like the judiciary is trying to give its judges immunity, like members of the executive.
You know, it's a very simple thing. But sometimes I feel that the EFCC, sometimes, I say this with all sense of caution, that they're given to infantile tantrums, particularly when it comes to things that don't favor them. All right, if you read the judgment, it's very straight. There are procedures, there are processes to how things are done. Now, a judicial officer is not just a random person. They go through certain screening. Fine, you can say that for other people in other disciplines and all that. But now, there's a constitutional provision for the appointment. I mean, for the NJC is an executive, body, all right? And the Constitution also, there's a constitutional provision for it, all right? And also the same Constitution lays down the procedure of how things will be done. All right, now the NJC, it's not just an ordinary body. It's a body composed of judges of all levels, all right? And there are ways things are done. In fact, the Holy Book says that let things be done decently and in order. The judgment is very straight, all right? Let these things be done. There's an administrative procedure that when the person is found guilty, they will hand this person over to you. Simple. The same judges, is it not judges that will be in the same court that you're going? So are you telling us that the NJC is not competent? Are you telling us that the NJC will be biased? I mean, raising such against the NJC itself is not, it's not expected of the EFCC.
All right. Now, if that argument subsists, yes, others will say that, well, even in the civil service, there is the Civil Service Commission that disciplines, and also there are all those rules and procedures in the civil service. So in that case, the ICPC, in the case of a civil servant, or maybe even the FCC, as the case may be, wouldn't have the right to prosecute any of those because the Civil Service Commission has the powers to do that. And it's also is already mandated to do that. So how do we argue that?
No, it's a very straight argument. All right, the Court of Appeal hasn't said don't take erring judges. No, in fact, it's a simple provision of the law that there is no administrative panel that can actually declare somebody a criminal. It's only a court of competent jurisdiction that can do that. But what the Court of Appeal is just saying is that let the procedures be followed. Let the NJC deal with this person first. if the NJC is not necessary, then the Constitution...
Well, then a document shows that NJC cleared EFCC to prosecute these 7 judges. In fact, I have a statement here that says that as a mark of support for the investigation and prosecution of the judicial officials, the NJC told the EFCC that its leadership had decided that the affected judges should cease to perform judicial duties pending the conclusion of their trials.
If you read the entire letter, that's just an excerpt. All right, it was something written, I think, June 1 by the NJC to the EFCC. What they're purely saying is what this judgment has captured, that these people will be taken out. These people will be disciplined and dismissed. If they are found wanting, fine. So
you're saying it doesn't mean that NJC is handing them over to the EFCC?
No, the NJC says that after the disciplinary committee has found this person guilty, that, in fact, what the letter is saying is that there are instances where the NJC will look at it and find out that this person is not due for prosecution, right? Because if the EFCC goes ahead without following due procedure, now you're taking prosecution away and it's becoming persecution. Just follow due process. Now, then you see, the way criminal law or the criminal justice works is that it's not like civil cases whereby in 6 years, the things may be started bad, or after a number of years, you can't do anything to this person. Once you commit a crime, they can come back in 50 years and get you. So there's no rush. Why the hurry? Why you want to jump at prosecution? You will still get the same result. And is it not the same EFCC who will come and say, today we want to amend charges, we want to drop this one. You saw the one for the Senate President and how, you know, the court came at them. Now, so, in fact, it's very easy. Once the administrative panel, the administrative panel or the disciplinary committee of the NJC, once they're done, you can just pick from whatever they come up with and use that to form your charges, and it's simple.
And but in this case, if the process, the procedures are followed like you stipulated, and then the NJC has concluded either disciplinary measures or all of that, what is the EFCC left to do after that time? When it is the same case, the same issue?
The EFCC is saddled with prosecution. The NJC won't prosecute. They will recommend. But if the EFCC finds maybe extraneous evidence and all that against the person, they can petition the NJC. Then the NJC will look at it and hand over. The
same NJC that reinstated its members, and then somehow this the judge was charged to court later on. So,
exactly.
You're smiling.
Yeah. Because these are the things Nigerians are looking at. Because it's like setting a precedence that sometime people are going to take advantage of this in the future.
You see, this thing goes to the credibility of the NJC. All right, the NJC,
and the judiciary as a whole. The
NJC is a credible body, and there's a constitutional provision. It's in the Constitution, Section 153. It says 153(1). I think created the NJC as you know, an executive creation. Now, so at the end of the day, are you trying to challenge the Constitution? The same Constitution outlines the functions of this same NJC. So if you now say that, okay, we'll bypass NJC, we will just go ahead without following process. You see, the thing is this, the mistake EFCC is making is that there's always room for process. If you don't follow process, another case will happen tomorrow.
But then, are you saying that the NJC, and he asked the question earlier, and that seems to be like the big question, are you saying that criminal trials and criminal codes, and then the Constitution, Nigerian Constitution, are under the Constitution of the NJC?
No.
As a panel?
I'm saying the NJC is a constitutional body. It's a body created by the Constitution. So it should be allowed to function as it is created. The criminal code is not under...
The same Constitution gives EFCC, you know, as a body of the executive,
the
power to prosecute
EFCC too is an executive creation.
Exactly, under the Constitution. So doesn't it have power to prosecute?
Under the president.
Members of Nigeria, citizens of Nigeria found, yes, of course, innocent until proven guilty. And of course, these judges are also Nigerians. What
we are saying is process. You cannot circumvent process. In the end, look at what happened in the end. You will still go before the court. At the end of the day, the Court of Appeal said you didn't follow process. Law is about process. If you don't follow it, if you're supposed to take 7 steps and you miss step 5, they will tell you you didn't go well. No matter the number of years, no matter the effort you put in. So what is that? One thing we need to clear is that the NJC is not shielding It's the same NJC that has recommended several for prosecution. It's the same NJC that has dismissed a number of judges. In fact, if you look at the effort of the NJC in the past 2 years, in the cleanup of the judiciary, they've done wonderfully well. Now, there are still skirmishes. There may be one or two things. We should leave margin for error. But you cannot say outrightly that this is a body that is created by the Constitution. And the Constitution has allowed provisions for its workings. Now, so if you want to bypass or circumvent in the name of prosecution, the NJC has not even said don't prosecute. Let's follow this thing, then we will hand this person over to you. That's how things are done. Things should be done properly and decently.
All right, but the issue there is, when the EFCC, the prosecution by EFCC is usually done in a law court.
Yes.
So it means it brings back all of these things to the court or to the judicial system, as the case may be. Now, if in this case, they're saying, okay, EFCC, leave this issue for the NJC, or whatever you find, send your petition to NJC for NJC to look through, and by the time they look through, they can discipline the person on your behalf, as the case may be, or we can carry out, because of the process, we can carry out the prosecution or discipline of the person.
Sorry, let me clear one thing.
Yes.
The NJC doesn't prosecute.
No,
the NJC recommends for prosecution,
okay,
but they discipline. In fact, I said something earlier on. It's a fundamental principle of law. There's a case, Gaba and Unimade, that says that no administrative panel can actually declare someone a criminal. All right? It is only a court of competent jurisdiction. The Constitution, Section 6, talks about the court and talks about what the court can do. All right, but you see, let's be careful. Sorry, one second. We should be careful in following procedure, because, I mean, we should be careful so that we may follow, or we should follow procedure. Section 1 of the Constitution, Section 1, subsection 1 says the Constitution is sacrosanct. The Constitution is what we all live by. The Constitution is what unites us. And Section 1, subsection 3 says anything you do outside the provision of this Constitution shall be null and void to the extent of its inconsistency. All right, now, so if the Constitution has laid down a provision, then let's follow it. That's what the court is saying.
All right. Now, the Constitution made that provision, establishing the NJC, which we know. It is the Constitution who has also, based on the principles of delegated legislation, has given powers for, you know, where laws, exactly, and all of that. Now, if there are other bodies, like I've mentioned the Civil Service Commission, there are other administrative bodies from different endeavors.
For example, the National Assembly could say that don't prosecute Senator Misal anymore.
Exactly.
Let us investigate.
Because they all have mechanism. All of these bodies have mechanism within themselves to discipline anyone who... So are we saying that the EFCC should always wait? Send your petition to...
The question is, if they wait for process to take its due course, whose loss is it? If the EFCC waits for process to take its due course, who would die?
But then, does the NJC have the capacity to conduct investigation, the threshold of proof?
Absolutely.
You know, against someone accused?
The NJC is composed of judges. That's why I'm saying that if the EFCC can calm down, all right, the NJC is even in a better position to help them straighten their cases. A lot of times we go to court, you report it here, that the EFCC, they've come on, they want to amend this, they want to amend. I'm not saying amendment is evil or amendment shows incompetency, no. But I'm saying that if the NJC recommends someone for prosecution, they would have given you the blueprint. You just walk straight. Because you see, I said earlier that the EFCC is given to infantile tantrums. It's like a baby, you want sweet, your mom has gone to buy the sweet. She's put the sweet on the table. She wants you to arrange yourself, then give you the sweet. But the baby is hanging upside down, and like you want the sweet, shouting. It doesn't work like that.
All right, now, like they say, laws are meant for human beings.
Not human beings for the law.
Not human beings for the law. And in this case, Nigerians are certainly feeling very concerned that it looks like giving technical immunity to judges. Now, from the window of the fact that justice should be done, and not just being done, it should be seen to have been done. From that window, in the minds of people, would it not be too strict
All you need to do,
stiff-necked for the for this law to stand.
All you need to do, my brother, is to read what has been. You see, we have a way of looking at headlines and running with it. We should go past that. Then you see, the NJC is not, or the law or the judiciary as a body, we're not given to sensationalism. Because you see, the judiciary is the common, is the hope.
Help us clarify quickly, before, apologies for butting in, help us clarify. In the Constitution now setting up the NJC, does it give it the power that if the NJC is investigating a matter, it cannot be heard again in an open court?
It can. That's I'm coming.
Okay.
That's what the judgment has said, that there's an administrative procedure. Once the administrative procedure is done, then EFCC can now come in. You don't come in before the administrative.
But it doesn't seem Section 158 of the Constitution gives immunity to any judge in the country.
No, it's not. That's the thing. There's a misconstruction here.
Exactly.
People are thinking that you're giving immunity. No.
Because if the NGC says that we have investigated these judges and we have found that they are not to be blamed for any wrongdoing, and then the EFCC still thinks that
if the EFCC has
judges
something else
could be
on the
investigated,
judge,
what then will happen?
They can petition the NJC
to start all over again.
No, not to start all over again. That these are the facts we have, all right, on this same person, and we want to go ahead and prove it. What the NJC is saying is that take this person out of service, all right, let him leave his job, then go and face prosecution. They're not giving immunity. No. I've had this argument.
But that was what happened before.
That was
we suspended it, and then the NJC reinstated them, and EFCC got angry. And after that, the judge in Nigeria was charged to court.
You remember the one of Justice Ademola, where, he was taken out, prosecuted. At the end of the day, it was a no-case submission, then he had to go back to work. You see what the NJC...
So why didn't the NJC wait for the EFCC to have its run? Why did it reinstate the judges?
It was the EFCC that went ahead to... If the court... No. If there's a case against you, all right, and you're taken to court, and you get to court and there's a no-case submission, there's no case proven against you, you have to go back to your job. It will amount to persecution. You've gone beyond prosecution. You've gone into persecution.
Well, not all the judges were charged to court at that time. Not all the judges.
The ones that were charged to court, that were let free, then you have to.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Barrister Olatunbosun Oshifowora. Well, lawyer, he has said there is no cause for alarm here. So
absolutely none.
Thank you very much for coming.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right, at top of the hour, we'll be going on the break for the news update. But we have some messages now. Still with us on TVC Breakfast.